I'm sorry, I wasn't focusing just now because of the echo, so I'll read it again.
Okay.
So, is is homeschooling better than a public or private school education? What are some examples of situations where it might be better to homeschool a child? What about situations where it would be better to send a child to private school? I
Okay.
would say it depends. Like homeschooling can work for some people while some people they don't fit homeschooling, right? Fit
What
it
what what makes someone suitable for homeschooling?
maybe special needs children. Can I say special
Okay.
needs children?
Yeah.
They need homeschooling. Yeah, and then for those students who like concentration, homeschooling would be a better choice for them because you cannot put them in uh a group of students and then you expect them to like catch up with the progress. Can
What
I?
about students who are very advanced? So you're talking about students with issues. What about students who are very advanced?
Yeah, yeah,
What are
yeah.
they?
Sometimes the kids are drive much faster, so they can actually like learn one step faster than the others. Can I
Okay.
say that?
Yeah.
Is
You
there
could say
any
that.
like better expression for that?
You could say that they're one step ahead of the others.
Or one step ahead of
Yeah.
other?
Yeah. I wouldn't use better there, although it makes sense. Just it's more that that expression is one step ahead is idiomatic. So yeah,
Okay.
right. So when you hear native speakers speak, they'll probably say one step ahead just because it's an idiom. But what you said, your grammar is correct in the first case too. So
Oh, okay. Good. So, yeah, I used to teach in a homeschool before, and
oh
then
really? I
I
didn't know they had teachers for homeschool. I thought it was usually the parents.
they do hire basically she's the principal, but she hired different a few teachers to like teach certain subjects.
Okay.
So yeah, during the COVID-19
Mm-hmm.
um and then she hired a few teachers to like teach the subject. So um yeah, basically it works pretty well and the students can actually improve pretty fast. Like within a few months we can see the progress. Yeah. So and then but there is also a con,
Okay. What's the con?
and that's going to be maybe they lack of social interaction with the other students. They are um how do I say that? I need your help with it like
The
um
socialization is what you're talking about. So
socialization. Yeah.
yeah, in
And
the
then
public school,
they don't know
so
like
socialization is learning how to interact with other students,
yeah,
like
and
learning how to.
homeschooling is like you are limited or you are strained in a particular like I don't know how to explain that, but
Sorry, you said that
like
you're limited. I understood that. What was the word you used after
yeah,
limited?
right. Really, you're
Strained?
limited. Yeah, strain. Can I say strain?
I don't think it's appropriate here. Straining to what?
Strain. They are strained because
Okay.
they never like see the other side of the society. But I don't know how to explain
Okay.
that in.
when they're in homeschool.
Yeah, correct. Like they don't see
Okay. I
um
just would say they lack socialization or certain socializing factors, like such as
they are too
friends,
they are in their comfort zone.
peers. Yeah, so they don't have peer interactions,
They don't have peer interaction.
right?
And also they are peer.
So interaction with your peers would be, you know what that means?
Um means you talk to people which are almost at the same age as you.
Yep. Same age or same like point in their education,
Oh,
right?
point. Okay, in terms of like
Yeah.
education level.
Yeah, but age is probably the most important
Oh,
thing.
age.
We also use this expression in the British and American justice systems. You have a jury of your peers. So it's
Theory of
the
your
the
peer.
Americans will say like you have the right. Actually, I don't think I'm not sure if it works that with the British. I think it does because the American justice system is just a copy of the British one, basically, with some minor changes. Um, they don't wear the wigs for once. For one, I don't know. Do they wear the wigs in Malaysia still? The
Mean,
barristers.
oh, you mean wigs? The fake
Yeah, you know what
hair?
I mean, right? The white hair. Do they wear that in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Malaysia? Okay, so that's a British thing. But in America, they stopped using them like over 100 years ago. So the jury of your peers means that you have a right to be judged by to be found guilty or not guilty by people who are in the same basic situation as you. So a jury of your peers should be like people, if you're American, it should be other Americans and it should be normal people, not necessarily like people randomly chosen.
That's mean they judge you.
Right. So they would have 12 the courts usually have here at least they have 12 jurors. This term,
Jurors.
yeah, jurors are members of a jury, and the
Okay.
jurors they vote. They have to all agree. So they vote on whether the person is guilty of the crime or not guilty,
So
and
the
then
how about the first person in front, like in
the
the
foreman. That's called the foreman of the
the
jury or the judge. The
jury?
big the judge is in charge. So the judge's job is to keep everything under control, and then after the jury finds the it depends on if it's criminal or civil. Let's say it's criminal, so they'll find the defendant. You've heard that term.
Find the defendant.
The
Okay.
defendant is the person. Again, I'm basing this on the American
Absolutely.
legal system. So that in a criminal case, they'll find the defendant who is a they're the person that's being tried for the crime. They'll find them guilty or not guilty, and then the judge's job is to decide what the sentence is. So
Mm.
the law will say like the law will give you a guideline. They'll say like for stealing, maybe you could get a minimum of 5 years and a maximum of 15, depending on how serious it was.
So
And the judge decides how many years to give that person.
then a defendant that's mean a person who defends the person who is um
No, the defendant is that would be
the
the
convict.
person that is the defender, called a defender or defense attorney.
Okay.
If it's a defender, it's a specific thing called a public defender. The public defender is like, I, I believe it's like a barrister in the British
Barrister.
courts. I believe that I can't remember which one is. They have barristers and solicitors. I think the barrister is like the defense attorney, and the solicitor is like the prosecuting attorney. Prosecutor is the one who works for the state, right? His job or her job is to try to convince the jury to find that person guilty, and then the defense attorney's job is to defend the defendant. Defendant is the person who needs to be defended. And
Okay,
then
so basically,
so
lawyers, is it? Are they the lawyers?
yeah, they're lawyers, right?
Prosecutor
Attorney
and
is a
defense.
lawyer. Prosecutor is a different type of lawyer, yeah. But these are the American terms because I'm familiar with the American courts. The British, they don't have defense attorneys. Well, they do, but they call them a different name. They have barristers and solicitors. I'm not sure which one is which, but you could probably look that up. Barrister is probably a defense attorney
Oh,
just
okay.
because of the term to solicit, but I'm not actually sure. It could be the
Oh,
opposite. I'm just
I was
guessing.
how about if yeah, this is a random question for you. And when do we use never, like I never play game, or I never, like let's say I take he or she as an example, as the pro as a pronoun. Is it a
Okay.
pronoun? Are they
Yes.
pronoun like he, she, it?
Yes.
So
Correct.
he, she, it, he never play game or he never plays.
He never played. Oh, wait, are we talking play or plays? Or play
Yeah,
and plays or past tense?
yeah, correct.
He never plays.
He never
If
played.
it's he, she, or it, it's plays. It doesn't matter that you have never there. It uses the same rules as present simple tense. So I play, you play, he, she, it plays,
Okay,
right?
but
You know these ones already, I think.
yeah,
Correct.
but then and
Never doesn't
the
change it.
book,
Never is just a word to make the sentence negative rather than affirmative. If it's affirmative, you just say he plays. And if it's negative, you could say he doesn't play, he does not play, or you could say he never plays.
okay. So because some I still remember that I saw a question, but um they actually used the past tense form of
You can.
play. He
I
never
thought we were just talking about present tense. He never played is correct.
never smoked
Yeah.
um when he was still young.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah. That makes sense.
okay. That's mean he never smoked when he was young. That's mean he smokes now.
Not necessarily. It just
Oh,
means that he didn't for that period of time. I guess no, yeah, it's just talking about that period of time.
okay.
You could say he's healthy now because he never smoked as a child. Obviously, smoking as a child is a little extreme. Maybe he's healthy now because he never smoked when he was young.
Oh, okay. You can mix the present tense and
Right.
past tense in one sentence.
Yeah, yeah, you can.
Okay.
Especially when you use because, right?
Because, okay. Right.
Like he or you could use it with so, like certain conjunctions like because and so. So like they link different clauses that are independent. So they link two independent clauses. So
Mm-mm.
he's tired today, so he won't play with us.
He
Right?
won't.
He or sorry, that's too present. He was he was injured yesterday, so he won't play with us today. So first you use past tense. He was injured,
Oh,
giving the cause. You give the cause of the condition that he's in,
mm-hmm.
so he won't play with us today.
Want
Or
is the full
won't, will
short of
not.
will not. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Let me know if I'm speaking too quickly. I
Uh,
know I do that sometimes.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm a little bit blurred in the morning.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, you can mix tenses.
In
Just have, as long as they're independent of each other and they're connected with some kind of conjunction.
mm.
Uh,
And then some last time I caught you saying like I said it wrong. I said it wrong last time you said this. And then why isn't it I said it wrongly? Because say is a verb and then you are supposed to add add an adverb at the back. Like you put
well,
ly at the back there.
I think in this case, wrong is actually used working as an adjective. I believe. I know that it. I know that the correct way to say it is, I said it wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Um, I
Why?
don't know why that is though. It's just something that's ingrained in my brain, you know. Um,
So like I said it correct or I said it correctly.
so you would say, I said it correct. I said it correctly. Yeah, that's interesting. But if we add "ly," it's going to be incorrect here. No? Interesting. Yeah, I think maybe it's one of those cases where people said it incorrectly for a long time and it became the way that people speak. But I think according to this you can say wrongly. I think
I said
I
it
said
wrong.
it wrongly. It just sounds very strange to me, very alien.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it's, I mean, you're right, it should be an adjective or an adverb. So um yeah, I mean, just I said it wrong is a bit informal anyway.
Yeah, because
You
in
would you would say
TV, yeah,
I spoke incorrectly would be the proper way to say that.
I said it incorrectly, but this is a bit way too formal.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I would just say it informal. I said it wrong is fine.
Okay, I got it.
I'll look that up. I'll get you an answer next class because I'm curious too. I like to know where these meanings come from.
Okay.
Because just like I said it correctly makes sense in my head,
Mm-mm.
I said it wrong makes sense in my head.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about socialization.
Mm.
Um, and you said that it would be, recapping what you said it would be best for homeschooling would be best for children that are either far behind or ahead of their peers, or they have some kind of learning disability, right?
Yeah, because
Or like
homeschooling is
ADD.
ADD. What is ADD?
ADD is attention deficit disorder.
ADD
The
means
students who have you do you have students who take Ritalin or Adderall?
hmm?
They're drugs to treat this. It's ADD is where the child's brain is a little bit different, so they have trouble paying attention if they're not interacting. So if the student's just sitting there, here,
Does
there's
that mean they are hyper?
ADD.
Are they hyper
There's two. There's ADD, which is attention deficit disorder,
attention deficit order?
and then there's
Deficit.
ADHD. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So if they have attention deficit disorder, they just have trouble paying attention, and if they're hyperactive, then they're also like going crazy.
Oh,
It
okay.
should be
ADHD.
hyperactivity.
Attention
Hyperactivity.
deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay, you add
Right.
another H, it will be hyperactivity.
Yeah, it's a big thing for students.
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of my students have that. I
Mm,
think probably some of it is just because the classroom is naturally a bit boring. It's sort of one-sided, right?
mm-mm.
Like with the one-on-one class, it's like a conversation, but or even a small group, but with a large classroom, it's more like the teacher talks and you listen, and then you have a chance to raise your hand. But most of the time you're just sitting there.
Okay. Right.
But
So
that in that case, homeschooling would be helpful because the student is always going back and forth with the teacher, so they don't. It's more. They're more engaged.
mm-mm.
But yeah, so I think also cases where homeschooling. I don't know if this is appropriate, but parents will homeschool their children to try to protect them from other students, or like if they're super religious, maybe they don't want them to be around certain sort of unpleasant parts of public school, like, being around, if it's a girl, they might not want them to be around boys, or girls being, or the opposite, vice versa, a boy being around girls when they're in high school, something like that.
Mhm.
Although that's pretty rare. I
Yeah.
just know that's one reason people homeschool in the United States.
You mean some parents, they are overprotective?
Correct, yes.
Overprotective to their children or overprotective
Towards,
towards?
yeah, towards. Yeah, use towards when you're talking about a person who's acting a certain way
Okay.
towards another person. And to can be used so many different ways, but it's it's used more for physical interactions, but not more than towards anyway. I don't know. It's very complicated, but with towards, when you're saying she was acting upset towards him, or she was acting nasty towards him.
Oh, okay. So, mm,
But if you
why
use
are you so
being,
why are you so mean towards me, or why are you so mean
in this case, I would use to. So
to?
it just depends, but both are correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But in the sentence that you read to me, I would use towards. I'm
Towards.
not sure that to is correct there. I think in fact it's towards.
Okay.
But these are minor things. But
So, what are some examples of situations where it might be better to homeschool a child? Yeah.
we already went over that.
Uh,
What about the third part?
what about situations where it would be better to send a child to private school?
Should say there. I forgot. So a private school, right, is like not as, it's a little more sheltered than public schools usually.
Mhm.
So what
But they
situations?
still get to interact with the other students, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I would say in Malaysia, the private school, most of the kids are quite spoiled. I mean,
Uh-huh.
just a minor of just a minor or minority, minor of them.
I'm a minority. Yeah.
Yeah, just a minority will behave in such a way. So uh but for me personally, I don't really support sending a child to. For me, I would prefer to send the child to private school because it doesn't like interrupt their learning. The syllabus is um way much better than the public school, but depends. Maybe yeah, it will. For Malaysia, I would prefer like sending my child to private school, but not public school. For
Got it.
homeschooling, I don't want like the children to be too I don't want to like because homeschooled children, they are too oriented, is it? Can I say self-oriented? They only think about themselves.
Self-centered.
Self-centered, yeah. It's more.
There's a term called solipsism.
So
So solipsism is Did I spell that wrong? There it is. No, not two L's. Solipsism is where it's like extreme self-centered,
Extreme self-centered. Like
centered
like you need to like expose.
behavior. So solipsism is where you believe that the whole world only exists
Revolves.
because of you. It like revolves around you, and you can't really see things from other people's.
Okay.
So solipsism is another ism. We talked about isms last week, but this one is specifically having this mindset at the center of the universe,
Yeah, that's
right? And
like
you see it
every
a lot in like, right.
correct. They always think that, I am right and you are wrong. Some homeschool children, they don't want to admit, or even though they are right, but they don't know how to like um interact with other people correctly. Maybe they are too
Yeah.
pampered in, can I say they are too pampered? Sometimes homeschool children, they are too pampered.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and then uh what else? It will be better if, let's say, the parents are financially okay,
Right.
financially okay, and then they can afford the expensive fees, then yeah, they
Is
can
it
send their children to private school.
is it appropriate for parents to send their children to a private school if the public school is very poor, like, or like let's say the public school is full of a lot of like very poor students who maybe don't have the same standards, um and the parents who can afford private schools pull all of their they pull their children out of the public school to put them into private school, and then I do you see the problem there?
Yeah, yeah, correct. I actually I mean, a lot of parents also say that to me, like they are financially burdened because they want to like send their children to Singapore because they
Okay.
want them to receive the best education. Because in here in Malaysia, we um the government school or the public school, they emphasize on the usage of Malay language in essential
Right.
subjects like math and science, and also the literacy level, the English literacy level in English is um way like too mediocre or maybe below average. Like even though the grade system here in Malaysia, it's even though you get A for your English, but when you compete with when you um compete in the international level, you might get a C
Right.
for that. So um some
But
parents, yeah.
the problem that I see there is, do you see a problem for the Malaysian schools then? If
Yeah,
all the yeah, right, because then you get what's called a brain drain,
yeah, brain drain, correct.
right?
A lot of,
So
yeah, they
yeah,
rather
that's a big problem in developed countries because
correct.
not just Malaysia, like any developed country, they have a problem where like the bad schools just get worse because I think that probably Malaysia, the schools are a little more even, but in America, you have really good schools, and then in the middle of the city, you have schools that they're beautiful, like they have all the money and the grounds are really nice, they have really nice equipment, but the students are from really bad, like underprivileged families, and then all the decent students they leave. Uh, Things like teachers get stabbed. The principal in the city near me got stabbed. Anyway, so then the parents don't want the parents who can afford to leave, they leave, and then that just makes the school even worse,
Mm,
because the kids that are left are the kids that can't afford to leave, or the kids whose parents just don't care.
I see. Okay, that's pretty violent there.
Right.
Then
I don't think that's probably a problem in Malaysia, but it's an American thing. And the same brain drain could have, if people are leaving Malaysia to go to school in Singapore, then it's good for Singapore, I guess, but it's not good for Malaysia.
yeah, correct. And then yeah, they actually like some parents they rather like work a lot of work take up a lot of jobs to sustain their children's tuition fee. And I think yeah, maybe the government should do something with the tuition fees that they set. Maybe you have to set a maximum price. Maybe they intervene a little bit.
That makes sense. Keep it affordable.
Okay.
All right. So I think we covered that pretty good. And we have solipsism, which is a fun word. Okay. So let's go to this one.
Do you feel that there's a good system for dealing with mental health issues in your country? Are mental health issues a major issue there? Should mentally ill criminals get special treatment compared to sane criminals? I have no idea for this, but
What happens to people who are mentally ill in Malaysia?
normally we don't seek for help because for people like most of the Asians we feel that, oh, if let's say you have mental illness, you're weak, so we try to avoid that. Like sometimes when we say, oh, I have depression, and then most of the parents will just brush it up and then say, you're not tough enough, you're just a crybaby or what. So yeah, we don't really, we normally we keep it to ourselves, we bottle our feelings. So yeah, can I say brush it off?
Yeah, of course. That's a good one.
And then
And
we
go
don't we
ahead.
seldom we seldom like tell our problems to people because we don't want to spread the negative vibes. So I
Right.
think a lot
Tell
of,
people our problems.
yeah, I think
Put your
most
order
of the
there.
Asians we have mental health issues too. I mean, for Asians like us, we are too pressured or pressurized.
Pressured.
Yeah, we are.
Pressurized is a physics term, like
Oh, okay.
talking about air. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I myself, I don't know how to like deal with the mental health issues, but there is a system. I mean, there is a hotline for us to seek for a quick counseling private one-to-one counseling session. Like
That's
I
pretty
can't
good.
remember what is that. Yeah, it's free. It's free of charge. Like anything, you can just call them. Just give them a call. And this it's not. I'm not sure whether they are psychologists or not, but yeah, they will try to like calm you down. If you have suicidal thoughts, um you can always give them a call, and yeah, maybe you will feel much better, even though they cannot solve your problem that you are facing.
I think a lot of them are probably volunteers because there's a similar hotline in the US, and I think they don't have enough psychologists, so they use like students and volunteers because it's
Uh,
a lot of people call it, but maybe it's different there. Maybe you have less people calling
we
if
have
Asians
a
are
lot of
hesitant to call.
we have psychologists here, but normally they are unemployed. Maybe because there is a, I believe there is a huge demand for psychologists I mean, a lot of people have mental health issues,
Right.
but they are unwilling to go there because they don't want to admit that they have problems. We feel
Do you
that we
know
are normal.
do you know psychologists versus psychiatrists?
Psychiatrist
So
is okay.
there's a difference. So the psychologist has a PhD and the psychiatrist has an MD.
MD.
Yeah, the psychiatrist is going to be an actual the psychologist can provide therapy and they can recommend a psychiatrist, but the psychiatrist can write medicine. They can prescribe medicine.
Oh, psychiatrist.
Right.
That means they work in the hospital or
Usually,
even the clinic.
psychiatrists usually have a hospital that they work at, and then they have a private practice too.
Oh, that means they have like in the hospital they
Inpatient and
have their
yeah,
own departments, and
correct.
then
They have outpatient too, which would be um, actually it's still outpatient in the hospital because people are coming in, but
have
they have a
inpatient
clinic
and
somewhere.
you have inpatient and outpatient, right? In
Inpatient just means that that person is admitted to the hospital, and
they
outpatient is everything else. So you can go to the hospital and still be outpatient because you aren't actually admitted into the hospital. Like you don't have a bed there.
okay, that's mean inpatient you will need to stay there like in
Right.
ward, but outpatient that's mean you can take the
Correct.
medicine and then you can treat yourself at home, right?
Right. And inpatient psychiatrists are going to deal with people like who tried to commit suicide, or when I was a intern at the hospital, it was a lot of drug addicts. Like they come to the psych ward because they are trying to come off drugs. And so
Mm-hmm.
the psychiatrists are there to help with that.
Okay, got it. So
So what about addiction?
addiction.
Drug addiction or alcohol addiction, gambling addiction, any addiction. But is that a major issue in Malaysia as well?
I guess so because I've never
I mean,
experienced.
is it in the news?
I seldom read news too.
Okay.
uh, I don't I don't know. So I guess so.
But
Yeah,
okay. So you just aren't really aware of that, if it's
right.
an issue or not.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
not.
I'm sure there's people addicted everywhere to everything, but it seems like you said that mental health issues like depression are more prevalent.
Mhm. Yeah, depression is more prevalent here.
Versus addiction. Okay. And what about criminals? So let's answer this part of the question.
Okay, should mentally ill criminals get special treatment compared to sane criminals?
Right.
But okay, mentally ill criminals get special treatment. Maybe. Like, what do you mean by special treatment?
Well, let's say two people do the same, they commit the same crime.
Uh-huh.
So an insane person, a person that a psychiatrist deems to be insane. So uh, let's say they're both women, both the same age, and they commit the same crime, but one of them has schizophrenia. You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is normal. And should this schizophrenic criminal be allowed to not go to jail and go to a hospital instead?
No, I
Okay.
think maybe they might fake it. They might fake their
Well,
illness.
okay, go ahead. If they're faking, let's pretend that the psychiatrist is really good and they're able to tell that the person is not faking.
Because oh yeah, I read a news that happened in Taiwan, I mean, a man actually raped a girl, raped a lady from Malaysia, and then he was let off the bar. Can I say let off the bar or
Let off the hook,
let off the hook?
like fishing, you know.
Oh, okay. He was let off the hook, and then he he didn't end up going to the jail because they believe that um he has mental health issues, and then I think he went to jail. I think he went to jail at the end, but only for a few years. But he actually raped and killed the girl from Malaysia. So I mean, a lot of Malaysians are very enraged or outraged.
And outraged,
Outraged,
outraged.
yeah, by
Yeah.
the decision made, because the man, the criminal had um problems. I mean, the man had past criminal records.
Um,
Yeah, and people say that he will never change. We Malaysians, we say that he will never change, and yeah, so it's unfair.
right. I think usually most, I assume Malaysia has this system, and Taiwan probably does too. Um, they have a system where for criminally insane people, they get sent to a different prison. In England, I know it's called Bedlam, and it actually became a word. So Bedlam is a asylum
Mm-mm.
in the UK for criminally insane. And actually, the word Bedlam, that this is a proper noun, right? It's the name of a place, and then Bedlam means like causing, like crazy, like causing problems, like it was absolute. It's a state of craziness, like was absolute bedlam when she came back home. So like because the idea is like Bedlam was full of people like screaming and going crazy. So they use this as a noun to talk about the state of craziness. So like coming home to absolute bedlam.
I
Just
see.
a little factoid there. If you hear that, that's where that comes from.
Okay, got it.
Bedlam. All
So
right. So I think we covered that. Your opinion is no, they shouldn't get
now,
special treatment.
yeah, they can
Okay.
take it too,
Right.
and then
Well, they
they
can
will
get
be an
treatment in
opportunity.
jails, right? They can have there's psychiatrists in jails usually, I
Mm-mm.
believe.
And
Okay.
then
Anything you wanted to add to that one?
no, because I'm not very familiar with it.
Okay. All right. This is the one that my friend told me. Actually, no, this one is. But let's do this one first. This one is mine.
Oh, okay. Given a limited amount of time on Earth, what legacy do you want to leave? Legacy do you? You mean anything I want to leave on this Earth? Maybe I would do charity, maybe,
Okay.
and then I never thought of this question before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe set up a school whereby it is meant for the poor people, a small one, and then I would like to like set up a multiracial school in Malaysia because we are too divided, and I hope to like make a change, at least make a change in Malaysia. Yeah. And then yeah, maybe because
So you want
I
to leave an institution like a school as your legacy,
mm-mm,
specifically one that solves some of the problems that you
I
see.
don't think it's possible because I don't have much money to like
Well,
send our
the
school.
legacy is also, it doesn't have to be about money or anything else. Obviously, if you're building a school, then yeah, you would need some capital. But um, although there are people that get involved with charities and then they're able to use other people's money. But what about like the way that you're remembered? How do you want people to remember you? That's part of your legacy.
Mm, no, I never expect like people to remember me because okay, this is a very deep question. I don't know how to
Yeah,
answer you. Because I feel that I still can live longer, but
yeah, of course.
who knows when I will leave someday in soon. I don't know.
Well, I just put, it's kind of obvious that we all have a limited time on Earth. Our time is finite. You know that word, finite.
I know.
Finite is the opposite of infinite. But when we just write it as, instead of pronouncing it as finite, we just say finite.
I
Finite finite means like a fixed, like a limited amount of time,
mm-mm.
right? Limited doesn't have to be short. It just means that it doesn't go on forever. It's not infinite. So we have, all humans have a finite amount of time on Earth, which is going to vary, depending. People live for 2 hours or they live for 100 years, depending on a
So
lot
how
of
about you?
different
What
factors.
legacy do you want to leave?
Oh, let's see. Um, I'd just like to be remembered as a decent person.
A decent person.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. Nothing super intricate.
Intricate, that's been complicated. Intricate.
Right, yeah.
All right. Decent means
Um,
good, right? Or powerful.
no, decent is good.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like someone who's not unfair to other people. A decent
Oh,
person is not unfair. Yeah,
that's
good,
kind person.
decent. Good, decent, they're synonyms.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I just think decent is a bit more, I don't know, good is a very, good and bad are very common
Mm-mm.
words. Okay. So this is I pulled this from the New York Times,
Mm,
and it was talking about traffic accidents and how the New York Times says that traffic accidents in Thailand are connected to poverty, and specifically they're connected to having super rich people and super poor people.
hmm.
So do you want to read the quote and then we'll talk about the question?
So in Thailand, one of the world's most unequal societies, or even roads have a rigid hierarchy, with the poor far more likely to be killed in accidents than the well-off and well-connected. Do you feel that this statement is justified? Do you feel that road fatalities are class related, not just in Thailand? This sounds, I think it doesn't make sense. Like it's
Well,
whether you know how to drive or you don't know how to drive. If you don't know
well
how to drive, then you get
their
killed.
argument is that the poor can't afford to buy cars, so they
Okay.
usually travel in motorbikes,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah, correct.
the middle class and upper class have cars, and then most of the fatalities in Thailand, at least, And actually, in most of Asia, are motorbikes hitting cars or cars hitting motorbikes.
Yeah, I used to be in I used to take the Grab, and then the way they drive is like very dangerous.
Yeah,
They
very.
drive very fast, and then basically yeah, and then you have the tuk-tuk over there, the
Right.
the is it a bike or is it a motorbike?
It's a motorbike converted to have three wheels. But
Oh,
the old tuk-tuks were actually built as tuk-tuks. Like they built it as a special vehicle, like a tricycle is the technical term for it. Like
mm,
bicycle and then tricycle, three wheels.
I
But yeah, I mean a tuk-tuk versus a car, the tuk-tuk's gonna get pancaked. So
pancake?
like flattened.
You mean okay.
Like
So
pancaked is usually a term for when something gets crushed. Like
okay. When something get crushed.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um
Maybe no.
so you don't feel it's justified.
Yeah. This it depends. For me, I think um the well-off people cause the rich people cause troubles more than the poor people for me, I think. Like in Malaysia we have a lot of I'm sorry to tell, like a lot of us, if we want to like pass our driving license, we will actually like pay extra for
Thailand too.
Thailand and then
Hmm.
to get the driving license. Even I myself, I do that too. But I can but yeah, they will purposely fail you. They say, oh, you passed the yellow line already, you are
Yeah.
failed. They will purposely fail us, so we have to um yeah, pay a certain amount of money. Well, some people, but my one is minor because um like I last time I took the manual driving lessons, and then sometimes the engine, like I don't know how to control the clutch. Is it a clutch?
Yeah,
Then
the clutch.
I stopped my car in the middle of,
Stalled it, yeah.
yeah, and then
When
that's just a minor problem. And then they fail us. I think it is. I mean, they failed me, and then I think it's pretty normal for me. It's not a big problem. But some people, they are very rich. They don't know how to drive. Like they are always speeding, or they don't know how to park the cars, and then
mhm.
you just buy the driving license. So most of the accidents, I would say, they are caused by the very rich people without and most of the time they don't get the license in the right way. Maybe because of corruption.
What about punishment for, let's say there's an accident and it's caused by someone with money? Do you feel like the punishment is sometimes lighter depending on how wealthy or well connected the person is who committed
Mm,
the who was responsible for the accident?
here in Malaysia, they say that the drivers, the drivers, the car owners will get a heavier punishment compared to the motorcyclists if, let's say, accident happen, and then yeah, we are quite careful, especially the drivers. We always let the motorcyclists to go first, so we don't harm them.
Right.
No way. Yeah, but
Most of the stupid driving I see is motorcycles, although it's
yeah,
like 60-40. I don't know. A lot of dumb driving by cars too in Thailand.
yeah.
And then obviously in America, it's pretty much 99% cars. So the dumb driving you see is cars.
But in Thailand, yeah, I would say normally the bikers or the motorcyclists, they drive very fast, like let's say we are driving and then suddenly they cut your
Yeah.
they cut queue. Can I say cut queue or cut line?
Both are fine. You would say cut the queue or cut queue or cut in the line or cut the line.
Cut the line.
You wouldn't say cut line, not normally.
Okay, cut the line or cut the queue.
Both are correct.
Oh, okay.
Queue if you're in England, line if you're anywhere else.
Okay.
But yeah, so in Malaysia, you do feel that it's a bit, you feel that the punishment is fair, but the rich drivers tend to be they tend to be less proficient, let's say. Okay. Okay, I think
Yeah.
that's all for that. I
Because
just wanted
most
you
of
to.
us we get our driving license by paying extra.
Right. The same in Thailand. Okay, what about this? What about this word? You understand it? Hierarchy?
Hierarchy means like you have a pyramid and then
Yeah, correct. You got it. Okay. So let's finish up with this question is from my friend.
Okay.
I didn't write it.
How do you personally define success? What are your standards for a successful life? At the moment, I mean, at the moment, I would say being rich. I think maybe I'm wrong. Like I feel that yeah, if you acquire wealth, then people will not be so mean to you. Yeah, and then
It's pretty dark.
yeah, because I mean I used to be very, very poor, and then it's very heartbreaking to see my parents begging for money from my cousins, from my aunts, and then they are they actually they say a lot of hurtful things to my parents and all, and it's very hard for them to like I mean it's pretty sad for them to like beg for money at their age, and then they get insults, and yeah, I don't want them to like experience that anymore. Like so that's why we say I mean for Asians particularly, we view wealth as something very important in our life.
So
Yeah,
wealth is basically you basically
yeah, to our
equivocate
dignity. Like if you lose wealth, that's mean you lose your dignity here.
dignity. That's interesting. I think as far as dignity, I think that's a bit different than success, right? Because your dignity is your honor. It's your honor, right? And success is open for whatever
maybe
you
I
want to
pursue
define it
wealth.
as.
Maybe I pursue wealth because I don't want to get looked down anymore. So I just want to break the chain of poverty. And then yeah, I'm actually so but for me, I believe that this is not the right reason to I mean this is not the right factor to define success. It could be like happy. Like sometimes
Right.
I have like dilemma, like I work so hard and then I sacrifice my health just to look for more money. But then yeah, I'm not happy at all, even though uh I have a lot of money. But uh I don't feel accomplished. So sometimes we compare a lot. Like
Right.
Chinese, we compare a lot, like, oh, who is richer and who is better. So maybe we are following the standard of the society too much. We don't really think for ourselves. I think it's harmful to do so. So I'm also trying to like shift um my goal, my target. Yeah, so I don't regret when um when I get older. Yeah. So
Do you
I'm
think that
actually
some
quite
of this is specific to Chinese culture, or
I believe in most Asian countries. I'm actually quite impressed with the Westerners thinking. They always feel that, oh, they don't need, I mean, the Westerners, they don't ask for big cars or big house. They just want to like, like live. They just want to be happy. And most of the Westerners, they are more easygoing. They don't compare so much. Like in Australia, they don't differentiate people by the wealth factor, maybe.
right?
Yeah, but mm, in Chinese or most Asian countries, we always, I mean, wealth and health comes first. Yeah, I would say
Right.
wealth is a very important part in.
I read something that ties into this with that show that you recommended to me, which I still haven't watched because I don't have Netflix here. I have it on my TV in Thailand. Anyway, this Squid Game show.
Yeah.
So they said that right now that Korean media is popular in America and around the world
Mm-mm.
because the
It's
film
telling the
Paris.
country.
Right. They talked about that it explores the idea of class, whereas the American movies and shows, they're too focused on race, like skin color and that sort of thing, as what causes problems and differentiates people, whereas the Koreans are focused on having money or not having money as what differentiates people.
Yeah.
So, like a class-based system where wealth is the primary thing, or race-based system, right? And what I read was that people identify more with a class-based system,
Here,
right?
I mean,
It,
America.
I think universally almost.
Mm-mm.
Although America, the media in America is very focused on race-based, but I don't want it to make a. I just thought it was interesting because you recommended that show to me, and now it's super popular. Um, everywhere, I mean, here too.
Mm-mm.
So, you feel that Westerners are um, more focused on personal happiness.
Yeah, correct. Maybe.
Um, some definitely are very focused on just earning money. But there's definitely, I've met some very wealthy people who live and they drive,
We
normal
know.
cars, dress normally, have a pretty small house for how rich they are.
Mm-mm.
Um, whereas in Asia, I've met people who are absolutely crazy about buying expensive cars and big houses, you know.
Yeah. So
So
that's why. So yeah, for me, maybe I don't view pursuing money as my success. I never dream of being successful. Maybe I'm just like venting, or I'm finding vengeance. Can I say vengeance?
yeah, you could say that. For vengeance for what? Because
Uh
of the way your parents were treated, or
yeah,
got you.
correct. And
Okay,
then
that makes sense.
yeah, so I just want to like prove to them that um I can do something about it, and
Right.
they should stop like harassing. I don't want my parents to like keep on like bowing down bow down to them to ask for money. Like even though we share the same blood line, I mean we are relatives, but um yeah, it's even more, like harsh. So sometimes, yeah, we are not that close. So
Got you.
yeah.
All right, I think that was a good answer. I'll tell my friend that it went over well. I asked him what a good discussion question was, and that's what he gave me. All right, so let's meet around the same times next week, or plan to anyway.
You prefer nighttime or morning time, by the way?
This is fine for me.
You want to like make it morning because I'm scared that you are quite busy in the morning. Or I follow
Um,
your time, like your time is um let's make it to like 9 a.m. and no, I mean 10
the
a.m.
only the only problem is I have another student now too. At 9 to 10 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah,
Tuesday
Tuesdays
and
and
Thursday.
Thursday. So
So
we could do it at 10 if you want.
to
So
do
it
it at
would
10.
so that would be right now where you are. It's 11 a.m. or 10 a.m.
It's 11:26.
Okay, so it would be. Let me think for a second. 11:26. So it's an hour. It's an hour down, and then switch a.m. to p.m. and vice versa. So,
I'm
um,
a bit confused whether we do it like in the morning or at nighttime because we are one day ahead.
right.
So sometimes I'm scared that you are confused. Like right now it's Thursday, but
Yeah, it is
Thursday is
confusing.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Thursday there and it's Wednesday here. Barely. It's gonna change soon.
So
Um, yeah, I mean, let me do a converter to see what times I have for my because I have my other student, my other advanced student, and then um she's intermediate, and then I have my Thai lessons.
okay.
So those are both in the morning.
Does she
Your
want to
time,
like
their evening.
fly? Does she want to like
I can ask.
because I
She's
believe I'm
very
seeing.
shy. I will say that.
Oh, okay. I see.
Um,
But
she's a
about
Thai student.
oh, I see.
I gave her some of these questions and she just couldn't do it, and she has to like ask to explain in Thai, things like that. Um,
Mm, okay,
yeah,
got it. No problem.
I think it would be hard for both of you, but let's see. I've only had one lesson with her. It was more me just assessing her. Anyway, I got to go to bed, so
Okay, sure, no
let's
problem.
for now. Let's just keep this time, and I'll put it in my calendar.
Okay,
Um,
you can let me know the fixed time, yes. Sometimes I'm confused too.
okay, we'll
Right.
do.
So thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Okay.
I'll see
Good
you
night.
soon. Goodbye.